What's up, everybody? It is Sunday here. It is April 28th, and today is an exciting day. So we've had rain for the past 36 hours, and now the rain is done and it's stopped. So we are good to go. I'm getting the first plants in the ground, aside from the garlic and anything that volunteer planted, it seeded itself from last year. So we are going to go ahead and get cabbage, broccoli, spinach, all planted out today, and I'm really excited to get those in the ground. And I'm also going to show you kind of what the garden's looking like, give you a little bit of a layout and a plan of how the garden's going to kind of look this year. So I'll give you a brief intro on that, and then we're going to get planting. So hi, hello, my name is Bree if you are new here, and welcome to Simply a Breeze. I like to cover life skills and gardening and food preservation here on the channel because I do feel that gardening and food preservation is a life skill, but I think it's more of a selective life skill that I personally believe everybody should know how to do it, but I know the reality of the world is not everybody does, and that's okay. So I'm going to take you along with me as I learn to strengthen and grow in this particular aspect of life. So come along with me if this is something you're interested in. Let's go ahead and take a look at the garden and see what it's looking like. Okay, so we topped all of the beds with composted manure from a dairy farm just up the road. My neighbor got that for us. And we decided to have lunch out here today because it's absolutely gorgeous. So Raid's over here chilling. But we're going to plant out, I think, a couple of things in this bed. We're going to plant out a couple of things in this bed. Possibly this bed because it actually stays relatively shaded, especially once our tree fills out. This is all volunteer garlic and volunteer onions, and that's a volunteer lettuce. But so given how tightly packed they are, I don't know if they're going to produce anything or be worth keeping in the ground. But that's an onion. And then those are garlic chives. They're doing great. We also topped this bed with composted manure, so the soil's just like beautiful. And this is all of our garlic. It's looking phenomenal. This guy's leaning over a little bit, and I think that's a little weird. So we're gonna prop him up. I don't know what's growing, so that's interesting. But all of the garlic just looks fabulous. And I am just so excited to see what my garlic harvest is like this year. And then we got some volunteer Swiss chard from last year, so that's exciting. I also think that that's what that is as well. And then our asparagus. This is our second year growing asparagus. So I'm excited to see what it looks like by the second year. We're going to go back over here real quick. So this is sage. My coworker gave me this sage last year, and it did beautifully, but I think I'm going to move it. We're going to relocate it to the backyard somewhere. But this is the broccoli. That's all cabbage. Then we got spinach. Oh, and we're planting out onions. I'm going to get the onions in the ground, and hopefully they're okay. So that's what we're getting in the ground today. This bed, I don't think we're going to put anything in it just yet. I think that's a volunteer onion. Those are leeks. I don't know when to harvest leeks, so I need to figure that out. Then these are carrots. So these overwintered from last year, and I'm going to try and nurture them and see if I can get them to grow and produce for me this year. But we definitely have slugs, and I need to get rid of the slug problem first. That's how you know it's slugs. Yeah, because these were in the ground. These were in the ground and the slugs are getting to them. Ugh. So I need to do something about that soon. Oh no, wow, that's a big carrot. Oh, and the slug totally got to him. Okay, I'm going to lay down some diatomaceous earth back on all of my beds, and that's supposed to help with the slugs. And then over here, we've got this absolutely cute, tiny, itty-bitty blueberry plant. So hopefully he grows a little bit more this year and he gets a little bushier. And we've got some echinacea, some rudbeckia. Those are garlic chives, and I don't think they're very happy there. I may have to move them. Hydrangea. These were bachelor buttons last year, I think. I don't remember. And those are morning glories that will come back. And I think there's one clematis, and I don't think it's very happy there either. But I also so I'm going to put the sage somewhere in here, and then I also got a new lavender plant that I would like to put in here as well. And then this was full of peas and beans last year. And I think I'm gonna grow tomatoes all along here, and because I have trellising tomatoes. So I'm gonna trellis some tomatoes, and then I'll put probably peppers in the front of these. I have a rotating compost bin that my fiance found on the side of the road. It's absolutely wonderful. I'm going to need this. I'm going to need this because I'm gonna put the cilantro. I need to transplant my cilantro as well, and I'm gonna put it in these little pots. I'm gonna stick it in that shaded area right here because we just get too hot. We get absolutely way too hot. So if I think I can keep them like right in this general area, I think they'll get just a little bit of sun, but not enough to completely ruin them, is my current thought. And then my green stalk, I need to move down. I need to move down there. And it's gonna live in the rocks somewhere in that relative vicinity. But it just doesn't get enough sun. And most of my strawberries died. And to be quite honest, I don't know if I want them to come back because we have a squirrel. The neighbors who used to live behind us, they're not there anymore. They used to feed the squirrels. And so now the squirrel thinks that all the food we plant is for them. As long as he doesn't do too much damage, we can live and cohabitate together. But if he starts being incredibly destructive, he and I are gonna have problems. I don't know what the solution is yet, but he and I we're gonna have problems. So that's the garden and what it's looking like right now. Now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get things, I'm gonna kind of plan everything out or look at what layout I currently have. And then I'm gonna figure out where I want to put things. We're gonna place all the little itty bitty pots in places, and then we will go from there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is predominantly square foot gardening. And it looks like I have a lot of space, but there's a couple of issues. One, where the garden beds are is the only place that I can really plant to grow. We can do some container planting as well, which may also be a reality for us. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. But the other problem is where we were able to build beds also means that my light is kind of set in stone. I can't rotate things the way that I would like to rotate things. Like for specific crop rotations, it's a little bit harder because of my light quality. Not all of my beds get the same amount of light or the same quality of light. Some of my beds get much better afternoon sun, and some of my beds get much better morning sun. And it will always be that way. I cannot rotate crops into certain areas because the sun requirement isn't the same. So that is something I have to keep in mind when I'm planning my garden. But what I like to do is this, so that's why we do the square foot gardening method, is to help maximize my grow space and what I can grow. But right now, I just get graph paper, and each square represents a square foot, and all of my beds are either, I've got 2 4x8 foot beds, I've got 2 4x16 foot beds, and I have 2 2x16 foot beds to work with. And so I use my graph paper, I map out all the square footage and what I can plant where based off of the square foot gardening method. So that is how I do that. And I will insert a scan of what my plans are currently looking like. They could potentially change, just so you know what I'm talking about here. But I'm trying to get an idea of where I want to start. And this is going to affect how I start laying everything out. But it's going to turn out great, and I'm really excited about that. Yeah, so I think yeah, that'd be perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna switch a couple things around, and that's gonna be, I think that's gonna be all right. Yes.
Where are you planting all the spinach and broccoli?
So broccoli doesn't like intense heat, so I'm torn between putting it in that corner or in that corner. And then the onions, I'm gonna focus right there, because it's, what, 1? They'll get great sun until you and I come home.
Tree gets leaves.
So, I may have to reassess my onion situation. That's okay. Okay, so I'm going to try my broccoli in this bed. And broccoli, we can plant 1 per square foot. So I'm going to go ahead and get this into the corner here. Okay. This because I want my cilantro to live here, because cilantro is not very heat tolerant, and this only gets morning sun. It won't get any, especially once this all grows, the cilantro will be shaded. I think that's a perfect spot for my cilantro. Fabulous. And if that's the case, then I can move this guy here. And I'll put this one in this corner. Fabulous. Let's get our cabbage figured out. I think I'm gonna plant these out. I'm gonna get those planted. I'm gonna get my cilantro transplanted. And I think the cabbage I do keep is gonna grow in pots. I think that's the play. So this year I am on a mission to get my broccoli to produce something. Last year I had broccoli grow, and it grew what I'm going to call more like a broccolini, not an actual head of broccoli. I also put my broccoli in the wrong spot last year, and it definitely was exposed to too much high heat sun much later in the day, and so I'm hoping this new spot, especially once I get other things planted, it'll help protect the broccoli from the afternoon sun, and maybe it'll do better for me. Right now I'm not having super high hopes from the future. It's currently getting blasted by the sun, and I currently have no way to protect it, so that is currently to be determined if I made the right choice or not in placing the broccoli where I have just placed it. But we shall see what comes of it and what happens. I also ended up not putting my cilantro there. My cilantro is now in containers, and it is on my back deck because I think that's the safest place for my cilantro to be if I want it to actually produce anything for me this year. I think I'm gonna change plans, and I'm gonna put all of my onions right here. And then according to the planting guide for the square foot method, my bulbing onions, I can plant 9 per square foot. So we're gonna give it a try. And on the seating square, the yellow marks the 9 per square foot, red is 16 per square foot, blue is 4 per square foot, and then that guy is 1 per square foot, which is what the broccoli was. And last year I grew using this square foot gardening method as well. And the square foot gardening method, I think, is really great if you're trying to grow in small and compact spaces. So I have gone ahead and linked the square foot template that I am currently using. It can be found in multiple places, so I've gone ahead and provided a link down below for you to go ahead and find it, and a little bit of information about it, because I think it's an absolutely wonderful tool for new gardeners and experienced gardeners to use, especially when you are trying to maximize the space that you have to grow in. This year, I decided to also try starting onions from seed. And I mean, I had about, I think overall, a 70 to 60% onion germination rate. Last year, what I did was I actually purchased onion sets. So they were already tiny little onion bulbs that you could plant in the ground, and hopefully they bulb up for you and you get a much bigger bulb. However, that was not my experience last year, and last year I ended up getting, at best, golf ball sized bulbs of onions. And they were delicious, don't get me wrong. We ate them, they didn't go to waste. Look at this onion right here. Look at that. Look at how funky that spiral is. Isn't that weird? But I am looking to grow bigger than golf ball sized onions. So I'm hoping this year maybe we can see a little bit more success, but only time will tell. I have heard starting onions from seed is actually a little bit of a challenge. So we'll find out what is actually going to happen. And believe it or not, these onions, the roots were incredibly easy to separate. I had anywhere between 2 and 4 per cell here, and the roots didn't actually seem to really bind up around one another. They kind of remained straight and relatively untangled. So it really didn't take much effort for me to go ahead and get these roots untangled at all, and that was a really nice thing to discover. So if you are ever interested in starting your own onion seeds, just know that you can grow them relatively compactly when you're starting them from seeds. The roots don't tend to bind very much. Okay, so I have a plan. We are going to disperse the cabbage into a couple of different areas, and it's going to kind of like be a little bit of divider, be a little bit of an experiment. Because I have 16 cabbages, I'm not going to be planting all of them. I'm going to be gifting some of them to some friends, but I want to see if they do better in full sun or partial sun. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll get the spinach planted, we'll get some things transplanted. We got a little more work to do today, guys. This could be a total flop. I don't actually know, but we're going with it. I don't know if I've mentioned this already, but this is actually my first year growing cabbages, so I don't actually know if I'm putting them in the correct spot or not. This year is definitely going to be a learning year where cabbage is concerned, and I'm going to take you guys along with me on that wonderful journey. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cabbage plant here. And then I'm going to put 2 over there. And then I'll probably put a couple in pots in the backyard. And then the rest are going to be gifts to everybody else. And then I'll do one catty corner to that one here. So I'm gonna put a couple spinach over here. I want to put some cauliflower in here too as well, so I'm trying not to overcrowd and take away too much space. But per the square foot gardening method, I can put 9 spinach plants in 1 square foot, and given that they're already established, I'm gonna find that incredibly hard to accomplish, so I'm only gonna put 4 per square foot. Where did... So, let's see. We got, I'm gonna put 1, 2, 3, 4. So I got 1 spinach right here. And we'll just put some sticks in here. Next side, right up here. Right here. Okay, I think I'll plant a couple more spinach along here. I think I'll put one right here. Okay, got beans. Ooh, I can start peas. I think I'm gonna start some peas today. Yeah, I think that's what we're doing. We're starting peas today. And then I got my spinach and my cabbage planted all over there, so I'm gonna have to update this chart. Okay. We're gonna do more peas and cucumbers in the backyard. And I need to plant kale. Planted way too much spinach, guys. Way too much spinach. It's okay. We'll make do. Yeah. Okay. And I emptied some trays, so that's great because I have to up-pot all of our tomatoes and our peppers. I'll probably do that tomorrow. I still have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 cabbages. I planted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I had 16, so I have 9 cabbages left. Unless I miscounted earlier. Okay. So there's 4. Yeah, I have 9 cabbages left. Let's transplant this guy. Yeah, let's get him transplanted. And we'll figure other things out here in a minute. Carrots, coriander. Okay. I think I'm going to interplant some spinach
with, I have asparagus over there. I may do some kale and some spinach in between where the asparagus are. I think that's what we're doing as well. Okay, so this is a little red Russian kale that I got. I just need, we'll see if we can successfully plant him. We'll put him right here.
So this asparagus we planted last year, and this is its second year in the garden, and we're gonna wait until next year to start harvesting from it, which was also why I didn't have an issue trying to plant within or in between the asparagus, because we don't plan on harvesting it this year. It's already kind of gone through its cycle for the most part, so interplanting, especially with leafy greens, shouldn't hinder it in any way, especially since we're not going to be harvesting until next year. Asparagus, if you start it from seed, usually takes between 2 to 3 years to get established and start producing stalks that are actually harvestable. So we still have about 1 more year until we're a little more comfortable harvesting from our asparagus.
So we're gonna get this guy transplanted into the backyard. Okay, so we had neighbors and friends come on over, so we got to talking with them. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and plant out some snow peas. It's about time that we planted snow peas. So what I've got here is a cup full of what's called inoculant, and it basically gives the peas a nice nitrogen boost to help them germinate and grow. This is often done with beans as well, but it's too early to start beans, so I'm just going to do peas. And I don't know how many peas I have in here. Let's see. Let's do, I don't know how many peas I can do. So we'll do 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Let's start with that. And I may also plant more in the bag. We'll plant the rest in the backyard. So I'm going to put my seeds back into their seed container. We'll close that back up. We're gonna grab the inoculant. We're gonna put it back in the plastic. Here, let's just drain that. Oh, okay. That is just, there's a hole in there. Didn't realize that. That's fun. Okay, we'll put this in a box too. Okay. I don't know how spaced apart these need to be. Let's see. So it says to plant them every 2 inches apart. So we're gonna try and accomplish that. Let's see. All right, we're gonna grab our poking stick. I'm gonna go ahead and put 1, 2, 3. Your leaf. Put you out of the way. Okay, so we're gonna do 1. Oh, that might have been way too deep. Let me see if I can. Nope. I think we lost that guy. But that guy fell way, way too deep. Let's find out how many peas we have left. We have a fair amount of peas. So we'll put 1, 2, 3. And then lastly, I want to try something new this year. So I am going to go ahead and plant 1 thing of cabbage in here. We're gonna try and carefully. We're gonna get them in here at an angle, and then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna see. This is a total experiment, so we'll find out. I'm wondering if I should have tried getting it closer to there. I think that's what I wanted. That's better. Yeah. Okay. And then I'm gonna put a spinach right here. I'm gonna learn from the last one. We're just gonna pop the soil back and around. We're gonna put a spinach plant here. There we go, beautiful. And then I'm gonna put another spinach plant here. Fantastic. So now we've got stuff in our green stock. I'm super excited about this. And I believe cabbage can go in the green stock. I don't have the leaf. I have the original. And so, to my knowledge, the cabbage should grow just fine. so I think that's it. I think I'm done for today. I think I'm gonna go inside. To be determined if we're gonna go for our run. But we got a lot of work done today in the garden and it feels so good. I don't normally like having my hands dirty, but currently it just feels great, so I'm really excited about that. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for being here. And if you liked this, please consider giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel because we are going to be doing far more garden stuff now that it is gardening season. So hopefully you have a wonderful rest of your day and I will see you guys next time. Bye.